Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially my sweet husband who inspired this video. Are you ruining your marriage? Or what are ways you can improve your marriage? Come along with me as I do some homemaking and I reflect on 3 things that I did that I know did not help my marriage, or things that I had to stop doing in order to improve it, in order to save it. I know that this information will benefit someone, whether it's just validating something you already know or if it is mind-blowing to you because either you're new to marriage and you really needed to hear this, it applies to you, or you've been married for some time and you just never had someone phrase it this way. If you're new to my channel, I'm Ina Cecilia, and I offer encouragement to women, especially Catholic wives and mothers. We talk homemaking, we talk marriage, we talk motherhood, we talk about a lot of things. So you'll notice I'm just doing random things in this video throughout my week. I am making this apple scrap vinegar hair rinse that I'm going to use as conditioner. I'm hand quilting, I'm homeschooling with my family. We go to this really cool local historical museum, which you'll see later, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, just come along with me, and I think you'll like this reflection because I think that God wanted me to share this message in just a few short weeks. My husband and I are going on 10 years of marriage, and it has been such a sanctifying experience. I am by no means an expert, but I know that there are certain things that I have learned, that I'm continuing to learn, that I have to keep reminding myself. So if none of this is new, thank you for sticking around anyway. I hope you'll share it with someone, and I hope you'll share some advice in the comments because I know that there are ladies who, some of them, they are desperate to save their marriage, or some of them, they're in a relationship and they don't know what to fix or what's wrong, and you might be pointing out the obvious to them. Okay, so I'll start with one of my first tips. By the way, there are so many videos about submission, and there's so many videos about honoring your husband, and I can definitely go into those marriage 101 things later, those classic things, but I kind of wanted to focus on things that we probably don't talk about too much. And so one of the first things has to do with what I am consuming. Now, sometimes you hear about it through social media. Stop going on Facebook and comparing yourself to all the people who their husbands buy them a dozen red roses every week, and they go on these vacations and they have the newest Tesla. What I mean by thinking about your consumption is I realized over time, and I think this was God changing my heart, there are so many television shows and movies that I used to watch that were so normal that I realized later, over time, after watching them over and over again and gaining some wisdom, I realized they were so toxic. Now, I'm not going to name any names, but I think some of you will know what TV shows and movies I'm talking about. There are TV shows that are glorified. Like there is a mother-daughter duo. I'm a millennial. This mother-daughter duo is quippy and cute and glorified, getting pregnant at age 16 and having it all work out perfectly. Well, that show has so many toxic relationships and views of this single mom empowerment. Now, I know there are some women who single motherhood was not what they would have chosen, but I think it's good for us to remember that some of the strongest women are women who stay in spite of these difficult circumstances. Like my mom. My mom did not have an easy marriage, and I know that. And so, realizing that, wow, I had been consuming this TV that was not giving me the right messages about what relationships should look like. Instead, it showed that you can be a single mom and everything's going to be daisies and roses. Another show that I used to love to watch has these 4 middle-aged women who walk around a bustling city just constantly with new men and exploring their desires, if you will. And that does not go with my Christian values at all. And I realized that I want to explore those things with my husband. I don't want to check out what's out there. So think about what TV shows and movies you're watching and whether or not they are truly helping you and benefiting your marriage. Okay, the next thing. I think it's really important that you picture what your marriage will be like in 50 years if you stick around. In fact, when you stick around, do you have a room full of grandchildren and great-grandchildren with you? Are you sitting next to your spouse at your grandson's high school graduation? Are you making coffee with them and just enjoying a simple morning in prayer and listening to the birds? I don't think we do that enough. So I think it's ruining our marriage to not do that. It is a way we can improve our marriage by trying to daydream and actually visualize what that will be like, because it keeps us going. We can see ourselves old and wrinkly smiling next to our husbands, and it makes the little fights not even matter, because I know I don't want to be old and alone, or I don't want to take turns for Christmas with my ex-husband. I want him right next to me, and I want us to laugh about all the things that we used to fight about or not even be able to remember them. So if you are not visualizing what your life will be like in 50 years with your husband by your side, I think it's worth doing as an exercise and getting in the habit of doing that. The other thing, I'm already forgetting if I said 3. I usually stick with 3 things, but I may have a few more. Are you praying for your husband? Are you praying with him? You will probably see this in other Christian encouragement videos, but not everywhere else. You're not going to hear a woman saying, even if your marriage is in a terrible rough patch and it totally stinks, are you praying the rosary for your husband anyway? Are you asking God to intercede? Are you bringing your problems to the Blessed Sacrament? Because if you're not, you're missing out on some jackpots that will bring graces to your marriage that you never even imagined. And it might not be overnight, but down the road, as I just mentioned, 50 years from now, you will reap the benefits of those graces, and God will smile on you for sacrificing in that way. So that's another way that you can improve your marriage, is just by simply praying for your husband and then with him, as I mentioned. It may be weird at first if you're not used to doing it, but start small in the morning, or you can just have a candid conversation with your husband and say, we don't usually do this. We've never done this before, but I want to start doing it because I am finding myself having trouble, and I think this will help. And he might think it's strange. He might not want to do it, but keep trying and mention it again. And if he says no, or if it starts to become a point of contention, then honor your husband and respect that this is not, this is God needing to soften his heart. And so you may have to pray quietly and independently for some time. But my husband he just entered the Catholic Church this past Easter, and I never in the 14 years we've been together thought I would see that day, and I'm so proud of him and thankful. And so God works miracles on his time. So be patient. That's another thing. I think it's important for us to wonder if by not being patient with our husband in ways that we don't normally think about, that is ruining our marriage. So what I mean is, yes, be patient, like don't lose your temper with him. But are we being patient with God's timeline? Are we being patient with what God has in store for our marriage? Or are we constantly frustrated because things are not happening as we want them to happen? As I mentioned before, we're not going on the vacation. We're not getting the roses. Perhaps God is creating a romantic heart in our husband over time, and it is good to humble us and remember that's not what it's important. It is the union, it is the sacrament, and it is getting us to heaven. Anyway, please share some words of encouragement for other women, any advice that you would give. I would love to know. And if you like this video and want to hear more, we can always do a part 2. So just leave me a comment letting me know that you want to hear more, because I have a lot to share on this topic. Thank you and God bless.